and you're not prepared for it. You know, I can prepare myself for the last 5 years for a moment that is just going to just take seconds, and the hard work of 5 years is going to be recognized in seconds, and it's going to secure a generation for 1,000 years. I think for me, that's how I think personally in that line. You prepare, you work hard knowing that I'm working as though it's happening tomorrow. You know, let's not work as if, and this is the challenge in Africa we've been facing. We always look at the future as very far. But if we could have an eternal perspective of looking at things, 1,000 years to come is now. So I'm working for 1,000 years as though it's happening tomorrow. The way I'm thinking is going to be entirely different. By you looking at 1,000 years and you're like, oh, it's a long time. I still have time. It's risky.
It's definitely
it's a huge risk. Yeah.
How about people who work the people who work with an aim to be recognized in society?
Aim to be recognized in society. Yeah, I think that is also, if it's a motive, it's fine. If it's coming out, if you're working to be recognized by the society, that means, let me tell you something. It's like how they say competition. You know, when we talk about some of the key issues Uganda faces in exporting its products is competition. But competition forces you to also go back to the drawing board and pull your A game in terms of the export. So that means you're going to produce something that is quite remarkable and very nice because you have been challenged. So if recognition is what that is driving you as an individual, it will push you to really do things that will make you get recognized. But do you know what is happening in the process of you pushing for that? People are getting jobs, you are employing people, you are paying them salaries, because recognition is going to come by the impact you have created in other people's lives, right?
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Well, anyway, I had a different, perception about it. Like,
what's your perspective in that line?
When people are working, it's more of you work. It's more you set up a thing with an intention of, so that society can look at you in a different way, and you're proving society wrong. I just feel like now that is where it's different when you're doing to prove the people wrong, and when you're doing it for yourself because you like it. There's no motive behind it. What you want is to grow as a person. Yeah.
Okay.
As a person, as an individual. Okay, you're being more in a sense of probably it's not about people, it's about you.
It's about you. I think in that process of you trying to do that, because recognition is seen from various perspectives.
Let them recognize you, but don't push it.
For example, if you say, I'm going to establish a road in this place, I'm not doing it it's about me, to show people that I'm something. But do you know that the road you've established is easing mobility of people's... So, me, I look at it from that perspective. It's more like if you have your battles out there with somebody and I'm going to benefit from the battles, well, let me take it for that. Because even every calamity, there is an opportunity. So I think, okay, maybe if society takes it too personal to that this person is doing it from a perspective of, they want to show off. But put aside that and say, but from his trying to show off, how have I benefited?
Like when politicians are, trying to woo people and the likes, they do things that they as a means of attracting them. Yeah.
But in the process of attracting them, some are using. So now, that's why I say it's all about how the society takes that scenario.
There are those who gain from it.
Those who see with the right eye. But those who see it from an emotional perspective, they lose out. And I've come to realize about life, when it comes to these sudden decisions, it's not about emotions. It's about... it's the reason as why it will be very hard for us to have a third world war, because now it's about business. Before that, people were fighting. You remember in World War I, even before the conflicts civil conflicts that used to happen in Africa outside, because people were blood hungry. But as generations went, people got to realize that, man, what is the purpose of me shooting my brother, and yet when I go back home, my child is starving? So we better think of raising income to sustain ourselves and families. So I may have a grudge on you, and you have a grudge on me, and you're trying to, but for the sake of business, I'll let it be. So I put the emotion, the political attachment out of that.
I think that is what is happening between the US and China.
Yeah, and China, of course.
The emotions, too much emotions involved.
Yeah. They let go of the emotions. Of course, there is that big need for supremacy, all this. But at the end of the day, you look at, if I fight this person, what am I losing? You know, you have no idea how many assembling companies from the United States are operating in China, because China has a big market. You know, there is a potential market for most of that. So that's according to how society sees it, and that's how it will be, you know, in that line. Well, that is it in our inspirational moment at this point in time. And well, away from that, something here about safety insurance for Ugandans that are working abroad. Now, as we speak right about now, Qatar and Uganda have come to sign a labor agreement, and this is going to help the Ugandans that are working in those countries, in that country, to have that safety, workers' benefits and all that, because we have known them for, you know, having issues, crying on embassies all the time, and they are looking for really some help. But now an MOU has been signed in place.
It's amazing. Just recently we were talking about it.
We just talked about it, and now it is happening. I mean, this is what we call the impact of media when it comes to influencing such of the, because these are people, however much they are not really earning a lot of money, but I'm thinking
they have their rights.
They have their rights. Yeah, because
but you see the problem I've seen it's just that the different agencies that people use. Yeah, people go for these unlicensed agencies, and you know, they trick them. At the end of the day, once they reach there,
they are tricked, and you know, and
you call
the
back,
entire
like,
put out.
It doesn't exist. Like, okay,
Absolutely true. Now, just to go through a brief report here, according to the agreement signed by the Minister of Gender and Labour and Social Development, that is Honorable Betty Among, and Dr. Ali bin Samek Al Mari, the Qatari Labour Minister, it aims to ensure that the safety and uphold the rights of all Ugandan migrant workers in Qatar. Now, this agreement comes after years of Ugandan officials expressing concern about working conditions faced by their citizens in the Middle East, and the reports of abuse, withheld wages, and unsafe working environments have been a cause for this alarm. And now this is in an effort to address these challenges. Uganda has previously signed similar agreements with Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and the United Arab Emirates. Now, these agreements are aimed to establish clear terms of employment, including minimum wage, working hours, talking about health insurance. And additionally, the Ugandan government has also proposed deploying labor attaches to countries with large Ugandan migrant populations to better assist workers that are facing difficulties there. Now, of course, the new agreement with Qatar specifically mentions protections for skilled, semi-skilled, and domestic workers. Now, this is a crucial part, a crucial point, as domestic workers have often been particularly vulnerable to exploitation.
Because most of them are from the informal sector. Most of them are not that much land.
Much land. Don't have the best they have attained is a P7 certificate. Senior for that, those that have gone to the maximum.
For them to actually defend themselves. And like I said, the different agencies they use, they are tricked. And at the end of the day, they're the ones that you remember last year, actually, in COVID, this has been a conversation that has been ongoing. Mostly those that go to Dubai, Qatar, those Arab countries, they're really facing it. We saw someone committing suicide, falling from and just, we've had stories. I've had live testaments. Testimonies from people that have been there, and they're telling you, I can never do. That was the worst decision I'll ever make. So I like the fact that at least I think they've been pushing for this. We want at least we want that relationship. Yeah, at least we know once our citizens are out there, they are safe, they are secure, so that we can do business. I mean, who would want to do business with a country that
absolutely,
exactly nobody. Yeah, so we've seen yesterday a report of a country that wants to repatriate their citizens back.
I think that's Ethiopia.
Yeah,
Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, on top of that, a joint technical committee will be established to oversee this, and of course to oversee the implementation of the agreement. And this committee will definitely this committee, which will convene for its first meeting. This is going to happen next month in May. Will be responsible for monitoring compliance, and also at the same time it will be addressing any concerns that may arise for any of the Ugandan workers that are in there. Now, the Ugandan government still hopes that this agreement is actually going to be it's going to be a turning point for Ugandan migrant workers in Qatar. But I think if we can have such agreements in countries like Qatar, why can't we have similar agreements with other nations where we can actually take skilled workers that are expatriates? They go as expatriates as one of the key elements of increasing remittances from diaspora, the diaspora remittances. Like if Kenya can be able to raise about $100 million from the freelancer society, and these are people that are working from abroad, I mean, what can't we do in Uganda? Because I think we have whatever it takes. We have the brains, we have the resource, the people that can actually take this to that degree. I would think it would be something quite ideal. Yeah. But of course, we've seen different programs. The different exchange programs. Exchange programs that are happening. Different programs. We've seen it in Kenya. We've seen it in Tanzania. Like it's an exchange program. We give you guys, you teach them. They come back. They come back to us with an agreement, proper agreement. Skill, the exchange of skills. That instead of, well, of course we understand labor is also necessary. Now when now you look at Japan, you look at China, most of the population is elderly. So they need labor force. Yeah, so we could do that in a business perspective. We're like, okay, fine, we are giving you these people, but on what grounds? You cannot just surrender your citizens just like that. Yeah, you're right. You know that the cost it takes for you to repatriate a body, a dead body to Uganda. It's quite costly. Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's on you. It's on you, not on government. So we have to have love for our citizens. Yeah, because these are the people. Once they go out there, they're going to bring remittances. However little they could be. Yeah, because I'm looking at a scenario where we see a Ugandan being able to cash out a $15,000 check, and they're in position to remit at least $6,000. I mean, that is quite an amount compared to somebody remitting $500. So if we have like 10,000 Ugandan workers remitting $6,000, if you make that mathematics, how much money is there? 6,000 times 10,000. 10,000 Ugandans remitting $6,000 every month to this country. Well, I'm not quite good at math, but okay, let's those 4 zeros for the 10,000 and 3 zeros, so that's about 60 billion every month from diaspora remittances. Yet we can have more. I mean, you have no idea what that, if 60 billion is assured in terms of, away from the money we get from the exports, and with time this number could increase to about 20,000, 100,000, and reach a point and we are remitting about $100 billion of diaspora remittances into this economy. That's, but this can only happen when such initiatives are in place. Labor laws, agreements, respecting the Ugandan workers abroad. They need to have their rights. Just like, of course, those countries, they don't design their systems for you to get rich, of course. But still, they pay you a minimum wage is actually gotten in there. So spend less, spend more, invest home. Yeah, because like it or not, Uganda will always be your home. I don't care how much time you've spent in the UK. You have a citizenship card. You're still a Ugandan in that line. Well, of course, you see, the problem is it's just that, like you see, we talk about expatriates.
Most of the people that go out, they're not. These are P7 leavers, senior 4 leavers.
Yeah.
I mean, there is nothing that they really add to the country that they're moving.
The country that they're moving into.
Yeah, and they were not adding anything to Uganda. So you see the whole thing. So we have to first actually compare the numbers that go in for domestic labor and those that go in
For
really skilled
for the skilled labor.
For skilled labor. So if we find the ones for domestic labor are more, because I'm very sure they're the most.
They're the most from Uganda.
Yes.
They're the most from Uganda.
Due to the employment that we have in our country, Uganda. So Uganda has not given a conducive environment for their citizens. You know, we talked about taxes yesterday. I mean, someone would be like, you know what? Instead of starting up a business, you know what?
Let me go work.
As I send money home. So that something can be done. Yeah.
All right, that's very true. Well, 24 minutes past 8. Now heading to the data economy. We know that data is the gold of the future. Actually, it's right about now. I mean, I don't want to say it's the gold of the future, but it's what really that is making up here. And we see a data-driven economy as something that is being embraced into the country, Uganda. You know, digitization in all aspects, because we know the impact when it comes to most especially business decision making. You know, this data creates a pattern of events and it helps you analyze the future outcomes of the possible sales you might make in the near future to come. And of course, this has been put itself in, it has been revealed in the aspects of artificial intelligence. That is one bit of it in form of data mining, data science, and you know, the statistics that we get, the population statistics, knowing which kind of a population is vulnerable. So this is quite key and reliable when it comes to government knowing where should we prioritize the resource allocation. If it's business, which people can't afford getting loans from commercial banks, and we can actually create a program for them. For example, that's how programs like the parish development model are birthed. Quite so many priorities are considered, most especially when it comes to Ugandans in the rate and the degree they can access capital to have investment. So it's where we are heading right now as a country, and it's also opening great opportunities for people to get into this sector in terms of jobs. Data scientists are needed. Data analysts are needed, data miners are needed. So it's all quite a huge sector, and this stands a chance of through the business process outsourcing, a government initiative where you can actually get yourself a job and you earn about $15,000 to $20,000 as you're working for companies across the country. But above all, the bigger picture here is data is a very vital subject where we're heading as a country and the world at the same time. Well, more of those discussions are going to be coming up shortly after this break. And of course, coming up will be business and entertainment and sports. Stick around.
Smart 24, driving business.